All right, let's dive in. We're taking a look at something pretty big today. The Scottish Family Party's policy document from back in 2023.
Right.
Now, I know you've probably heard snippets here and there on the news and all that, but
Yeah.
we're going deeper.
Absolutely.
We're going to do a real deep dive into their whole platform.
Sounds good.
Perfect for...
Great for our deep dive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because they don't just, like, list policies.
No, not at all.
It's like they lay out this whole worldview.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
their whole vision for how society should work.
It's pretty ambitious, you know?
Yeah, and right from the start, they talk about, traditional family values and how strong families make a strong nation.
Yes.
But they also claim these values are being, like, eroded or something.
Yeah, they really emphasize that.
What do they even mean by that? What values are they talking about?
Well, a key point is their emphasis on marriage.
Okay.
Marriage between a man and a woman as like the ideal basis for family life.
Okay.
So that right there, that sets them apart from a lot of other parties.
Right.
Who are maybe a bit more open to more diverse family structures.
Yeah, okay, so that's one of the values then.
Exactly. That's a big one for them.
Okay, interesting.
It's a clear line in the sand, you know?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And that there's this policy idea that I had to, like, double take
Oh, yeah.
when I saw it.
Which one?
The wedding box.
Ah, yes, the wedding box.
They want to give a literal box
a real box
to couples who get married.
in Scotland. Yeah.
What is that about?
Well, it's more than just a box, actually. It's kind of like a whole package deal.
Oh, right.
So you've got vouchers in there for things like anniversary meals,
Oh, wow.
stays at honeymoon destinations,
Okay.
even marriage preparation sessions. There's even
Wow.
a guide to pregnancy and parenthood.
It's like they're trying to, like, equip you for every stage
Yeah, it's like
of family life.
it's comprehensive, right?
That's wild.
It really is.
It seems like they're really sending a message with that.
Oh, definitely.
Like, it's not just a gift, it's a
Mhm.
statement.
Yeah.
Almost like the government's endorsing
Yeah, for sure.
investing in this idea of marriage.
Like, they're really putting their money where their mouth is
Yeah.
when it comes to supporting this ideal.
Makes you wonder, though, like,
What's that?
is it effective?
Good question.
Is this, like, the best use of resources?
Yeah, that's a valid point.
I mean, it's a nice gesture, but
Here.
could that money be used for other things?
Exactly. Like maybe
Direct financial support or
Yeah.
affordable housing?
Things like that.
It raises questions about priorities, for sure.
Big time. And that kind of leads into another big idea. They talk about family autonomy.
Yeah.
Like the SFP, they seem really wary of the government getting too involved in family life.
Very much so. They even lay out what they call, like, a dangerous philosophy.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It's this list of 7 elements
It's a wow.
that they think are undermining families.
Like what?
Things like distrusting parents,
Yeah.
putting children's rights above parents' rights
Mm-hmm.
is pretty strong stuff.
Yeah, they don't hold back, do they?
No. And they connect this to specific policies they don't like.
Right.
Like they bring up that named person scheme.
Oh, yeah, the one that got scrapped.
Right. And then the ban on smacking children
Mm.
and how they think the definition of child abuse is getting too broad.
Like too subjective.
Yeah, like it includes more and more things that they think are
Okay, I said
not really abuse.
So they're pushing back against what they see as
Yeah.
intrusions on parental authority.
Exactly.
They want parents to have more say in how they raise their kids.
Yeah, and it's interesting because
Yeah.
they even criticize things like medical confidentiality for minors
Oh,
and how topics like gender identity are handled in schools.
they think parents should have more control over that.
Yeah, they want parents to be more involved in those decisions.
It's a tricky one, isn't it?
It is. It's like, where's the line
Right.
between parental rights and the state's role in protecting kids?
Yeah, that's a tough question.
No easy answers there.
No, not at all.
But it's a debate worth having, I think.
For sure.
And it's clear the SFP feels very strongly about this.
Yeah, you can tell they're passionate about it.
And it's not just about criticizing existing policies.
Right.
They also want to come up with different solutions.
Like what?
Well, for example, they're not happy with policies that encourage both parents to work.
Interesting. So they're not just saying we need more childcare funding or
But
something like that.
they want to rethink the whole approach to childcare and family finances.
Okay, so how do they propose we do that?
Okay, so they don't love the idea of both parents working all the time.
Right.
But, like, how do they think we should handle all this?
Yeah.
Like the childcare and the family finances.
Well, they have some pretty bold ideas, I gotta say.
Okay, like what?
So one thing is they actually want to give cash payments to parents
Instead of,
instead of just automatically pushing for more nursery care,
oh, so like
but just giving the money directly to the parents.
giving families more choices about how they want to do childcare.
Stability.
And they also want to let those childcare subsidies go to grandparents.
Okay.
If that's how a family decides to do things.
So like if the grandparents are the ones watching the kids.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so more flexibility there.
They're all about that parental choice.
Interesting. All right, what about
Yeah.
taxes?
Oh, taxes. Yeah. They have some thoughts on that too.
What are they thinking?
They want a system where families are assessed as a unit,
Okay.
not just individual earners.
That's interesting. So basically they're saying the tax burden should reflect the fact that families are raising the next generation.
I see. I see.
It's kind of a different way of looking at it, right?
Yeah, it is. It definitely is.
Instead of just treating everyone as individuals, they're saying families deserve a break, basically.
And to help with those costs, they also want to increase child benefit payments.
Yes.
They want council tax discounts for families.
That's correct.
And they even talk about increasing statutory holiday entitlements for parents.
More time off work to spend with the family.
Wow. It's like they're really trying to make it possible for a parent to stay home.
Yeah, they really want to support that choice.
Yeah.
And they even suggest that maybe those without children should contribute a bit more in taxes to help offset the costs of raising future generations.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's definitely a controversial idea.
Yeah, it is. That's a big one.
Not everyone's going to be happy about that.
No, I imagine not.
But that's their argument. That those who benefit from a stable society should contribute to making that society possible.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Even if they don't have kids themselves.
Interesting take.
Right. It really challenges how we think about
Yeah.
distributing the tax burden.
It does. And it kind of leads into another area where they have strong opinions.
Oh, yeah.
Education.
Ah, yes, education.
They are not fans of the current system.
No, they're pretty critical of it.
Like, at all.
What don't they like about it?
Well, for one, they want to get rid of the curriculum for excellence.
Oh, wow. Completely scrap it.
Yeah, and go back to more traditional teaching methods.
So like less focus on skills and group work, more emphasis on knowledge and direct instruction.
Exactly.
Be back to basics kind of thing.
Yeah, they think that's what prepares kids for the future.
Structure, discipline.
They also don't like what they call the therapeutic agenda in schools.
Oh, what's that?
They think there's too much focus on well-being and all that.
Yeah. Emotional support, mental health.
Yeah, they think it's gone too far.
Interesting. So they're worried that it's...
They're worried it undermines parental authority.
Okay.
And creates a culture where kids are...
Like overly reliant on...
Yeah, reliant on external support.
So they want to shift the focus back to the family.
Yeah, and they also want to give parents more control over things like sex ed,
right,
and discussions about LGBT issues.
So they're concerned about the state overstepping its bounds again?
Exactly.
In education?
Yeah, and potentially encroaching on parental rights.
A consistent theme for them, for sure.
And this emphasis on individual freedom, it goes beyond just family issues.
Oh, really? Where else does it come up?
Well, for example, their stance on freedom of speech.
Okay.
They're big on that.
Yeah, I've heard they're pretty critical of what they see as censorship.
Yeah, they think dissenting voices are being silenced.
Like they're not allowed to express their opinions.
Exactly. And they want to repeal hate speech legislation.
Wow, completely.
They think people should be able to criticize any belief system.
Without fear of legal repercussions.
Exactly.
Even if those criticisms are offensive to some people.
They think that's part of free speech.
That's a pretty strong stance.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And they even go after the BBC.
Oh, wow. The BBC.
They're accused of having a progressive bias.
That distorts public debate.
Yeah, they don't hold back.
It sounds like they're taking a very libertarian approach.
You could say that.
Prioritizing free speech, even if it's offensive or even harmful to some.
That's definitely going to spark debate.
Yeah, especially these days.
When everyone's so worried about hate speech and online harassment and all that.
It's a tough issue for sure.
It is. And this approach, it kind of carries over into their views on immigration, too.
Oh, how so?
Well, they're not against immigration.
Oh, wait.
They acknowledge that immigrants bring benefits, but they want stricter controls.
Okay.
And an emphasis on assimilation.
So they're not opposed to immigration entirely.
Yeah.
But they want it managed in a way that...
They want to make sure it doesn't erode
what
they see as Scotland's unique cultural heritage.
They're worried about the impact on Scottish culture and identity.
Exactly. They think a strong sense of shared values is important for a cohesive society.
And they're not just talking about immigrants.
Right.
They're concerned about a general decline in those shared values.
Like they're worried that Scotland's losing its
sense of itself.
Yeah, exactly.
Its unique identity.
And they don't buy the idea that immigration is the only answer to population decline.
Right. They have other ideas.
They point to their own policies, like promoting larger families and restricting abortion.
As alternative ways to address that.
So it all goes back to their focus on
This the family?
as the foundation of a healthy society.
And they're willing to apply that focus to some really tough social issues.
Like what kind of issues?
Drug and alcohol abuse.
Okay.
Prostitution.
Pornography.
They're not shying away from those tough topics.
Nope.
So they're not just trying to punish or rehabilitate individuals.
All right.
They want to create a more morally upright society.
Exactly. And they see strong families as essential to that. So they're not just offering policies.
No.
They're presenting a whole moral vision.
For Scotland.
For Scotland.
Rooted in traditional values and personal responsibility.
Pretty different approach from what we're used to.
Yeah, they're definitely trying to carve out a unique space in Scottish politics.
They're offering an alternative to what they see as
the liberal orthodoxy of the other parties.
And they're doing it in a way that's really detailed and well argued.
And sometimes surprising.
They're not afraid to be provocative, that's for sure.
No, they're definitely not.
This has been a really interesting deep dive so far.
Yeah, it has.
What do you think, listener? Is anything standing out to you?
Anything surprising or particularly interesting?
Wow, we've really gone deep, haven't we?
Yeah.
The SFP's platform, it's
a lot.
Yeah. Yep. They're not afraid to throw out some big ideas, are they?
No, not at all. And, you know, whether you agree with them or not.
Yeah.
Got to give them credit for putting in the work, you know?
Yeah.
It's a really thought out, detailed document.
They really cover a lot.
They do.
From that wedding box thing.
Yeah.
To their whole stance on family autonomy and their critique of schools and free speech.
Yeah, they're not pulling any punches, are they?
It's a lot to process.
It really is. But I think it all comes back to those few core principles.
Oh, yeah.
That they keep coming back to, like the importance of the traditional family.
Right.
Their focus on individual freedom and just a general skepticism of the government getting involved.
Yeah. And they seem to think those principles are, like, under attack.
Oh, yeah.
In modern Scotland.
Like they're trying to get things back on track.
Yeah, back to a more, I don't know.
Natural, stable way of life or something.
They think this culture of, like, you know.
Yeah.
Individualism has kind of messed things up a bit.
Right. Eroded values, weakened society.
Exactly. But, of course, not everyone sees it that way.
Of course not.
Some people probably think the changes they're criticizing are good things. Right?
Yeah.
More equality for women, acceptance of different kinds of families.
Yeah, a more inclusive society.
Right, and they'd say the SFP's vision is just too narrow, you know, too focused on the past, out of touch with modern Scotland.
It's like, what direction do we want to go in?
Exactly, it's a big question.
Big question. What do you think, listener?
Yeah, where do you fall on this?
Fresh solutions or a step backward?
Voice of the people or a fringe group with outdated ideas?
I don't know. It's a lot to think about.
It is. And that's what makes this deep dive so interesting, right?
Yeah, it's not just policies.
Yeah.
It's these big questions about, like...
the future.
The future.
Yeah.
And hopefully this is giving you...
some new angles to think about it all?
Some food for thought, as they say.
Exactly. Because you got to be informed.
You do.
Before you can even start to form your own conclusions.
Absolutely. And hearing these different perspectives. Especially when they challenge our own assumptions.
Yeah.
It's so important.
It is. And before we go, there's this one thing in their document that really stuck with me.
What was that?
They said, one of the biggest threats to families today isn't actually the government.
Oh.
It's something like deeper.
Like what?
It's this culture that puts individual ambition and material success above everything else.
So, like, the idea that we're all just chasing money and status.
Yeah. And they're asking, like, is there even space left for love and commitment and sacrifice?
Things that families really need to thrive.
It really makes you think about what we value as a society, doesn't it?
It does. It really does.
And with that, I think we'll leave you to ponder that a bit.
Yeah, a lot to unpack there.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the Scottish family party.
Yeah, we hope you found it informative.
And maybe even a little bit challenging.
It's good to get out of your comfort zone sometimes, right?
Absolutely. Thanks again for listening.